He's eager to understand different cultures and the methods of doing business with the rest of the world. His classmates describe him as an honest and loyal team player with infectiously positive attitude and a master of impressions. Raj Baba.
Okay, well, that was a unique intro. Thank you so much. I like you better in class. Well, thank you, Doug, and good evening, graduates, respected professors, Rotman staff, and distinguished guests. 6 modules, 9 countries, 11 cities, 22 courses, 22 students. What a ride, and here we are today to celebrate. Aside from graduating from the most prestigious business school in Canada, the greatest honor for a graduate is to be selected as valedictorian by your classmates. So thank you, Omnium 13, for this tremendous honor. My journey leading up to getting admission into the Omnium Global Executive MBA program at Rotman began with a myth. A myth that many of us have heard and believed, that it takes a specific personality type to become an effective leader. I was soon reminded of a very simple story I was told as a child, which I'll quickly summarize for you. There was a family of 4 living almost next door to an Air Force base, close to a border between 2 countries that were at war with each other. During this dangerous time, the mother and father had to plan out how to keep the community safe and simultaneously keep their own children safe. There were warnings of bombs being thrown, missing their targets, as well as ground intruders coming in, hiding in the fields and the streets. So finally they made a plan. The father volunteered himself to stroll the streets with nothing but a bamboo stick, you know, in case someone with an automatic weapon showed up. And the mother volunteered herself to keep the kids safe by hiding them under the stairwell as a fun night out, telling them stories, playing games, singing songs, until they fell asleep in peace. Eventually the war was over, the community was safe. The kids never even noticed that there was a war to begin with. And the kids actually grew up never even remembering that there was a war at all. For them, it was a series of fun nights camping out under the stairwell. Those 2 children I'm speaking of are my elder siblings, and the mother and father in the story are my parents, the nicest human beings I've ever known in my life. All this to say, that it's not a specific personality type that creates a leader from within. In this case, it was circumstance and a common goal with a drive to achieve it. Years later, their 3rd child would use the house stairwell to hide his report cards and cigarettes. That same child will now talk to you about what our class has been able to achieve during these 18 months. Of course, we learned many things in the program, but drawing inspiration from the great David Beatty, I'll only focus on 3. In my view, there were 3 key overarching lessons that we learned during the program. The first one is to embrace discomfort. Depending on who you are, discomfort could mean many things. For some, it was being jet lagged and sitting in the classroom for 10 hours, or when battling classmates in a negotiations exercise. It was those moments during our leadership retreat in Budapest where we were asked to bring to surface our deepest, darkest fears and personal challenges. Discomfort came in that time when we rolled those carts through the streets and local trains in Mumbai in 38-degree weather to deliver dabbas or lunchboxes while we were hungry. There was definitely discomfort presenting a business idea on how to make money from recycled cans, only to have it completely ripped apart by a real venture capitalist in Silicon Valley. I still think it was a good idea. If we look at some of the great leaders we spoke about in the program, be it Jack Welch or Nelson Mandela, all of them experienced a certain level of discomfort. And hearing stories about developing markets emerging after going through decades of hardships is one thing, but to actually be in the thick of it, to challenge our assumptions and biases about the world and witness globalization with our own eyes was an experience like no other. This brings me to our next key lesson, showing humility and grit. Humility doesn't just entail being courteous, it also means accepting the results, whatever they are. The cliche says it's how you bounce back that matters, but it's not so simple. It takes a lot of grit to bounce back from a tough paper and then follow it up with a strong final exam. We had the opportunity to present a business model to a mining company in Chile. Business models that serve all stakeholders, customers, employees, shareholders, and the community and the environment. But perhaps the best lesson in humility and grit came from a group of students of a primary school in rural India. Years ago, that village had no hope. Today, they are producing highly skilled labor, and one of our classmates literally froze us in time when he made an impromptu speech about how he came from a similar background, attending a similar type of school in his home country. He encouraged all those kids, telling them that they are all brilliant and courageous and can become whatever they want, as long as they put their hearts and minds to it. With humility, the people of Johannesburg are now starting to put aside their anger and their personal biases, and now people of all colors and classes are coming together to rebuild their beloved city hands-on. That's grit. But one of the most important lessons came from our Rotman program managers, Mary Lee and Reina Shishikura, the two most patient people I've ever met. And this brings me to the last key lesson, gratitude. Often in our groups, we realize that very quickly that sometimes even the friendliest among us don't necessarily gel with one another while working. But that's part of learning, and frankly, sometimes entertaining. My teammates often said that conflict is not necessarily a bad thing, it's really how you grow. On our final day, Mary and Reina had each of us pick a name out of a hat and thank that person in front of everyone. But in a poignant moment, one of our classmates voluntarily went up and called up his group members. Like all groups, they had their ups and downs, but he thanked each of them for having a part in changing him as a person through those ups and downs. He was all of us in that moment. And that's what peer-to-peer learning is all about. So the big question that we all get now post an MBA is what next? And the immediate answer for many of us is, well, red wine and Netflix, of course. But what about these 3 lessons? Well, apply for that job that you think you're underqualified for. Start that business that you always thought about starting with a buddy and hesitated. And then embrace the discomfort. Be humble and listen to all the people at all levels. Accept the results, whatever they are. And then be grateful, and then respond with grit. And then be grateful for the victories and the learning opportunities, and then keep this cycle of learning going. But what am I most grateful for right now? Well, before applying to the program, I asked alumni, what's the best part of the program? And now prospecting students are asking me the same question, and sure enough, the answer is the same. It's the people you meet. The elite group of Rotman professors, business owners, locals in the countries we visited. But most importantly, it's the friends you make in class, and I have 21 of them. Truth is, my classmates were already accomplished leaders and hugely knowledgeable about the world. And I could talk at length about my classmates, but I'd be doing them a great disservice if all they talked about was how diverse we were in terms of background. We had people from all over, Brazil, Bermuda, Egypt, Oakville. We had people from everywhere. But what made our class diverse were the various characters in the class. And believe me, there were a lot of characters in this class. 22 of them. I mean that in a good way. We had a gentleman actually very proud of where he came from. And he ended every question and every comment with, by the way, I'm from Egypt. Literally, he put up his hand, how do you calculate variance? By the way, I'm from Egypt. Even when he got hit by a car in Johannesburg, his teammates told him, hey, be careful crossing the road. And he was just like, it's okay, I'm Egyptian, don't worry. We also had a guy who expresses every emotion with the word yo. Every expression. Hey, how do you feel now that you graduated? Yo. How was your last exam? Yo. Hey, did you hear Raj is valedictorian? Yo. We also had an individual, very matter-of-fact individual, It doesn't matter what you said or asked him, he would look at you like you just said the dumbest thing you've ever said in your life. Literally, one time in Dubai, I asked him, hey, I'm going for a coffee, would you like to join me? Raj, if I don't join you for coffee, is the barista going to shut down? No matter what. But what makes each of us unique is not our background. It's our intentions, our experience, school of thought, and upbringing. That's what made my classmates so unique, endearing, and so interesting to be around. I want to thank all the spouses, partners, parents, families who took care of business at home so that we could get our classmates undivided attention. Finally, to my friends and classmates, thanks to each one of you for making us all uncomfortable and uncomfortable when needed, for humbling us when we needed it, for motivating us to respond with grit, and for being graceful by accepting me and our other classmates just as we are. But thank you all especially for all those moments on those rooftop bars in various cities, riding on top of a double-decker bus in Mumbai and dodging all those trees, walking down LKF in Hong Kong, or making complete fools of ourselves at a karaoke bar in Shanghai. I don't think we're allowed back there. And so many more moments like that. I also want to thank the ladies in our class who were grossly outnumbered, but always made sure that we understood perspectives that we may not have understood before. On May 13th, I had the honor and the pleasure of bonding with each and every one of you at some point. And I think I speak for all of us when I say not a single day in my life will go by. Not a single day will go by in my life where I won't reflect on this incredible journey we shared together. From the bottom of my heart, congratulations on May 13 on completing your Global Executive MBA. You deserved it and you did it. And congratulations to all of you.